All right, let's see if this works. Just going to be showing you a trick. I don't know if it's a trick, something I did with using Cursor AI and writing some code that really I don't know how to write. Well, I guess I can figure it out, but I don't want to take the time. I just want it to work. I just want to be able to build things, and using AI is very helpful. So I have built a sparkline. It's actually showing line charts um, here on the screen, and it loads very, very fast. I think it's going to be dynamic. I have a number of improvements that I'm going to make. Probably going to use AI for a lot of that. Because I can load so many charts like this, I want to be able to load maybe even a couple thousand charts and then have a dynamic search bar so you can quickly write a tag or do things like that with autocomplete. Maybe even an AI interface, which you tell it what charts you're interested in, and it writes the query for you. I don't know, that's down the road. We could certainly do that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I'm more interested in experimenting right now than actually building out any particular application. So just going to show what the process of developing this was, and then how easy it is to implement in Apex, and how you can extend this to a lot of different things. So we started off in Designer, created a page here called, I knew I was going to do an iterative version and play around with it. I want to be able to destroy it and go back easily. So I started off with version 1 here and created, can I pause this? I don't know if I can pause this. I'm about to sneeze. Created a static content region, and then we just had AI write us some code, right? Static content region, and we just loaded all this code. So this function create sparkline, all created by in Cursor AI. Initialize sparkline was also written in there, and I think through some iterations I ended up randomizing like 100 charts, and then I tried changing this value to 1,000, and that worked great, loaded really quick. We had a generate random values function, and then we had to, it wasn't working at first, so I went back and forth, and it said, hey, you probably need to add this apex.jquery. So that was all done in Cursor AI here, and you can just highlight what you want to do here, and you hit function K or L if you want to edit the inline this, and I'll be showing that in other videos, or L chat with the deal. So you can create stuff. A lot of times what I'm doing, I'm creating a temp file. I keep a temp file now in a lot of these because I just go into the temp file and I put some instructions in, and then I just highlight it and I say, hey, could you create this for me? And it starts doing that with all my requirements. So I just basically said, hey, I want something, a function that creates sparkline charts, and I want it to get called and generate some sparklines. And then I said, I don't like the way it looks, and this and that. And ultimately, what I came up with was this. So let's go ahead and run this, and you can see that's what I got. Now things weren't centered, and I played around with that a little bit, but didn't spend too much time on it at this point. It wasn't working, and it's mainly because it's just generating the charts. It's not generating the outer div that kind of does all this. And we do that in the last step. You'll see my last iteration. I just added a region in Apex and done that. So that worked. The next step was to go on to, let's see, go back to version 1.1, and what did we do here? So this is when, okay, we changed the static region to dynamic content, and we want to return chart v1.1. So if we go look at what I wrote there, and this has been modified a little bit since the original, but if we go back and look at this function, all I'm doing is taking, the next step is just taking some of that code out and putting it in here, saying, okay, if I want to write some code that does this, oh, by the way, I wanted it to generate sparklines on a string of values, not a table, a string. And I'll tell you the reason for that is that I have a way of storing data called stat table, which is one row per stat. So if I want 50 million stats, it's actually not that hard for me to do that. It's not going to result in trillions of rows. It's going to be 50 million rows. Now, I've just recently extended the design a little bit, and I wanted to optimize it a little bit. So we've gone to two tables, so now there's two rows. So you get a row in each table for stat. You get your main here, and then you get one called rolling stats that has this delimited list of values, so that you've got some history. Now, the main stat table has history also, and I have been storing these values as just comma delimited strings. Works very well, and this is really easy to render, as a chart. And so now we have rolling stats, and I'm just implemented this and started working with it. But we have our hourly, and I think I keep like I don't know, 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours. I don't know. You can keep a lot because it's collecting data every 5 minutes. So I've got a daily average. So once the day rolls, you're keeping days and you're keeping months. That's all. Some of that data is also in the stat table. I'm not going to get too much into it, but I'm storing data like this. So now so it's really quick now just to grab that and chart it. So, so that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to chart it, and again, we just look at that function. Basically, we returned the function, and we had to figure out, like, how do we get this to work? Like, so I can't remember so I put initialize sparkline here on the execute when page loads. So I had to kind of play around with this section and this section. Of course, this could be loaded into a JavaScript file and just sourced in on every page. But then we went to the next iteration, which was really my final kind of get it working iteration is 1.2. And so here we'll look at the main page. We've got our main sparkline function in here, and that's it. That's all we've got. The function that was created by AI. I played around with it. I've resized some things. Once it's written, I can go through and figure some things out. I can tell it what I want differently. I can even ask it questions. If I don't understand, like container.style display, inline block, what are my other options? It'll do right here in here. It will tell me that. Well, not in here, but in Cursor AI. And then we did have to move that Ajax jQuery ready function for initialize sparkline to the onReady event. And so that's all that is. And then with our dynamic content, we're pulling from chart version 1.2, and that is down here. So this is the code that I require to generate charts. I require that JavaScript, or that function, the Ajax jQuery command, and then this. And really all I'm doing, I had to move from a const to var just because of weird issues with declaring const twice, and it wasn't in a loop anymore. So I'm basically building a CLOB and returning this. So this is real data coming out of my stats table right now. And so let's go look at that and run that. And I don't know how many it loaded, but it loaded a lot. And you can see that runs super fast. The colors don't mean much at this point. I'm just playing around with it. There's going to be a lot of different ways this can get laid out so that it's an effective visual tool. I wouldn't call this effective. This is just seeing how many charts can I load with the least amount of code possible. So this works, and the last iteration was just a little formatting. So we'll go to 1.3. And so I just added a contains chart region, set the column spans, changed the blank with no attributes, and then the return charts just went in here. So you can see we're just returning a CLOB, and there's nothing else being done. In our main page, still pretty much the same thing. We have our create sparkline function, which could be in a JavaScript file, so you literally don't need that. And there may be a way to get rid of this. And then you're just returning that initialized I'm sorry, yeah, you're just returning the initialized sparkline with your code. While you're returning, yeah, the initialized sparkline function. So you're building this function dynamically. Uses comma delimited lists, super easy, store data that way also, and chart it. And what else do we got? I think that's it. So these are just my notes here. So anyway, I think it's pretty cool. I have lots of ideas. I'm just experimenting with things right now, seeing, you know, how easily can I build these kinds of things. I do recommend you check out Cursor AI here if you're not using it, and I'll be showing this in more videos. Short videos I'm just going to post on X, and longer videos like this I will post on YouTube, but probably going to shoot a lot of short videos or just kind of rambling ones, and I don't want to clutter up my YouTube channel with them. So if you follow me on X, you'll see some of these videos. I have been working on some projects, and I upload the code. I decided I'm probably not going to maintain that anymore. There's not a lot of people using it, and it's more hassle than it's worth. Really just going to build things that I want to use for myself and experiment. So some of those projects I'm just going to pull down, or I'm just going to freeze them where they're at and take all the rest private. But anyway, I hope you learned something and enjoyed this video. Thanks.